to be discussing with each and every one of you and sharing feminine hygiene tips that I wish I had growing up, and I'm sharing these tips for your teenage daughter. So this version is in particular having to do with feminine hygiene. I have also touched on this particular subject for a little bit of hygiene, but more so on the side of shopping for perfumes and perfume dupes like this. Now, I've not seen Fragrance World's Baccarat dupe extrait just yet at any department store, such as TJ Maxx, such as Marshalls, such as Ross, and such as Burlington. But you will at least get some really high quality, not everyday, not stuff that you don't see everyday type of perfumes and fragrances. I actually find this very, very funny because I have some leftover oxtail gravy, and I just don't know how I just don't know how one fly got in here, because he's trying to introduce the other ones. We're going to ignore that because I think it's funny. I'm going to use this as a catalyst for everything and edit that out. By the way, so when it comes to shopping for your teenage daughter, I'm gonna give you a little quick backstory. So it's been a hot minute since I have been a teenager. So the thing to note about teenagers specifically, I can only give the perspective from a teenage girl. If you have a teenage daughter, or you are the parent of, or if you're the actual teenage young girl, welcome to my channel. So today that's what we're discussing. Now, I like getting to the point, so please excuse the background noise. Might put on some music in the background. Fragrance of the day, Bath and Body Works, Bahamas Passion Fruit and Banana Flower. So, the first thing to note about feminine hygiene products is to first get to know exactly what you're dealing with in terms of feminine hygiene products. You want to make sure that you are aware of how many products there are out there. So I'm going to start off with tampons. Now, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, well, here's your first question. What are feminine hygiene products for? They are to help maintain and manage any woman's, not just your teenage daughter, or if you're the teenage young lady watching this, they're not just for you to maintain and manage it, but it's an actual necessity for a woman, no matter the age, until they get out of the age of needing to have and of needing to buy and use feminine hygiene products. Most women typically, and I am not a medical professional, I always put it in every video. So if I start seeing comments like then I give out block trophies, and so I'm going to award you one, and then so you can move on with your life. Not a medical professional, sharing my experience. So generally, every woman's menstrual cycle that is still within that phase ranges from anywhere of 3 to 5 days, sometimes 7, I think is the highest that I have heard. That's when everything is normal. Now, anything abnormal, I would highly suggest for you to see your doctor. And at that point, even before you consider seeing a doctor, I heavily encourage you to get into the regular habit of studying and being in tune with your body as far as your menstrual cycle and in other ways, because it's going to really it's going to be very, very pivotal for you to be able to tell the doctor in great detail, or it's going to be very pivotal for you to make those necessary dietary changes, for you to make those changes where it's like, okay, I need to change my lifestyle if I want my menstrual cycle to be better, or if I want not only my menstrual cycle, if I want my menstrual cramps to lessen, or to not be as much, then you have to get in tune with your body. Now, as a parent, how do you do that? Now, I have teenage nieces. So, as an aunt, here's my perspective. You want to heavily encourage, whether you're a parent or an aunt, if you're single dad, this is for y'all too. You want to heavily encourage, if her mother is in her life, you want to heavily, you want to nudge the conversation in an area where she gets to know and really gets familiar with, and make that a regular routine of her getting to know her cycle on a regular basis. What happens when when it arrives, what happens when it leaves, what happens a couple days prior to it, what happens a couple days after it leaves, all of that in between. So I'm just giving you the quick basics. Now, about feminine hygiene products, let me tell you how many of those are. Let me make sure I'm hands free with this. Whew. I'm going to start I'm going to start almost very, very familiar, like in regards to about shower routines. Your feminine hygiene routine needs to be a little similar to that. So first things first, washing. The first feminine hygiene product that you have to consider buying for your doctor, which is not your doctor. Oh, goodness. If your daughter is studying to be a doctor, maybe. Anywho, feminine washes. Now, I know I have heard a whole bunch about feminine washes and certain brands, and this has messed up your pH balance if it's fragrance and all that. And sometimes I may get comments that, they want to heavily push the narrative and just be direct opposition. You're not helping things. You want to explore all the options, because what works for one person may not work for another. But one thing remains a fact. And if your ears are sensitive, this is your warning now to jump out the live. I'm just saying. Because I've given my disclaimer. Not a medical professional. We talking about young ladies, and we talking about feminine hygiene and their menstrual cycle. Yeah. One thing remains, whether you feel like or disagree with the fact of the matter, or with the option that, oh, well, fragranced feminine washes mess with your pH. True, under which circumstances? And see, I am not saying this to be controversial. I am not saying this to be just directly like, oh, I'm going to just oppose you out the gate. Because anyone that has watched me and for as long as I have been here on this platform, by the grace of God, you guys know how I feel about feminine hygiene as far as feminine washes specifically. And I like all scented stuff. Now, have I had the best experience with everything all the time? No, but I still stick by scented feminine hygiene products, because that is a preference of mine. So that means I'm living proof and a testimony that this stuff could still work. You could still use scented feminine hygiene products in moderation and have a routine and have a system going where it's not throwing off your pH balance. Because I hear a whole lot of just water and soap. Baby, what soap? These are legitimate questions I'm having. This is not shade. These are legitimate questions that I'm having. Legitimate questions. What soap, madam? What soap? I'm not yelling. I'm purposely pronouncing my words. And I'm purposely putting emphasis on my words. What soap, madam? Please do elaborate and explain to the extent at which, come on, soap and water. This is why they have feminine wash for your feminine area. Summer's Eve, Vagisil, FDS. I'm not quite sure in all the years that brand has been out, even as a teenager, exactly what that stands for. But that's besides the point. What soap? And the reason why I am specifically harping on this specific area is because what soap? If you're going to pitch or make or engage or propose an argument about a particular thing that you are saying you have knowledge of, and I'm saying this by the grace of God, please go into detail and elaborate on why you feel like a person should or should not do something. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Bells, thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping by. Emma hates Andy's Apple Forum. Appreciate you. Tim Andrew, appreciate y'all stopping by. actually go into greater depth in detail. While I understand your concern, I understand, I do apologize, but you're going to have to come better than that, meaning go into detail. Why are you, for example, why are you against scented stuff? And if you go into detail, please keep the personal comments, please keep the personal name calling out of it. Really, please, please. I'm not mad or upset. Like, I get to thinking about this stuff. It's just like, and I because I am in the arena and because I am in the niche of feminine hygiene, talking about hygiene, talk about smell good fragrances, talking about how to use it, talking about how to use the soap, how many different types of soaps they are. With feminine hygiene, that seems to be the area where they want to throw their dukes up. Well, put on a second pair of gloves. And I do say that respectfully, of course. Put on your second pair of gloves. Be prepared to actually have dialogue. Now, we're not going to argue, and I will block you in a New York minute. But we can have dialogue. That's not back and forth. That's not the same thing. That's all. That's all. I just want. Now, with all that out the way, Summer's with all these brands of Summer's Eve, the very first thing you need to be aware of that is on the market for your teenage daughter, or if you're the young lady watching this, is feminine hygiene washes. I could recommend Summer's Eve, but I can also recommend also a fragrance free of another brand, which I wouldn't know what that brand would be, but you could get something fragrance free. There are fragrance free feminine washes out there. However, I want to stick a disclaimer that goes with that. And the disclaimer that will go with that, with buying fragrance free feminine washes specifically, would just be that you need to be mindful of, well, make sure you get in the store, and once you pick it up and put in your cart, before you finally decide to run through that cashier line, make sure you smell, pop the cap, and make sure you like what you're smelling. Make sure you're checking out the reviews if there are any. If not, try to find either a one smaller bottle, or two, only buy one bottle, and then three, buy a backup bottle of what you originally get, just in case you don't like the fragrance free. Fragrance free fragrance free feminine washes, I'm not going to entirely vilify, and I'm not going to entirely rule out, because they're great for people who have sensitivity issues, sensory issues. Hi there, because I've gotten comments like that. Maybe there's an issue with texture, smell, your sinuses, particularly your nasal cavities, are sensitive. But that's the first category if you're when you're going into consideration of buying these feminine hygiene products for your teenage daughter, whether you're a single parent doing it for the first time, or you've been doing this but you're still not sure, you're not hip to the game yet. I'm giving you the game. Reason why I give this out is because some of it I learned on my own, some of it was taught to me, but the majority of it I had to learn on my own. And that's not shade to anyone who has taught me. I just love to know that people are prepared. And if I am within range of that information, and if I am within knowledge, I'm within reach, I like sharing it with you all. Whatever is related. Because, I'm not going to come on here and give you cooking tips, because that's not what we talk about on this channel. But I'm going to give you what I have, if I have it. Feminine washes. You can go with scented. I would suggest, if you're going to go the scented route for your teenage daughter, she seems to gravitate more towards those. This is why it's so imperative. Hopefully her mother's in the picture. If not, hopefully a mother figure of some sort. Maybe she has an aunt, grandmother, someone in her life. Bonus mother. Don't really like to say stepmother, but bonus mother. Okay, sounds cooler. For those out there, for that, if that applies to you, just to, have those conversations actively through the three of you, or if you have multiple daughters, through the whole squad, family squad, to know, okay, well, if she does like scented products, if she does gravitate more towards those things, then one, does she have allergic reactions? Two, is it affecting her sinuses? Three, at least after 3 months, what, after a couple months, is everything okay? Has the formula changed? This is where you also have to become familiar with it. And yes, I mean single parents. Yes. So you single dads out there, I gotta include y'all. I would be saying these same things to a single mother as well. Feminine washes. I've got that out the way. Next thing, and this usually goes hand in hand with feminine washes, feminine wipes. So when it comes to feminine wipes, I would say the same thing applies, except for with feminine wipes, that's a little different because one, it is portable. Two, she gets to take it with her, put it in her school bag. And then I would heavily encourage her to adopt the theory of putting together what's called a feminine hygiene kit. So this is normally what I use here. We got a certain number of regular, a certain number of super. Regulars for regular absorbency, 12 for, usually super. So each one of those absorbency just tells you what it's designed, how much liquid, how much, in this case, how much leakage that it's designed to take. I have talked about this before, and I believe I have a separate video on this that I'll link at the end of this one, if I can find it. And I'll put it on the community tab ASAP as soon as I possibly can. Encourage your daughter to have a feminine hygiene kit. What goes in a feminine hygiene kit? I'm going to give you a short version, so I'm not rehashing the video that I'm going to link you to at the end of this one. Feminine hygiene kit is something that comes in, and the perfect thing to buy it with, in case you haven't bought it for her, or maybe she needs a new one, you're trying to replace it, a makeup bag. When you buy a makeup bag, they usually come in sets of 3 to 4. Usually, one is a print, one is a solid color, one see-through, stuff like that. You find these easily at department stores of Bell's Outlet, Ross, Marshalls, Burlington, TJ Maxx. Perfect place to get them, and they're very nice. And sometimes you'll catch the high-end stuff if you really want to get something nice for her, which I heavily encourage. That's how you will set a standard for your daughter. And if you're the teenage young lady watching this, you can show them my video. You deserve the best. How you're going to become a great woman is learning how to become a great young woman as you're progressing in that area. So, makeup bags. Select one, pick it out of there. Make sure it's big enough to house what the very short list I'm going to give you. And I think I'm going to need to charge. Hold on. I'm going to be back. Okay, we going in. All right, we're back. I can always edit that out. All right. So, feminine hygiene kit. What should be in a basic feminine hygiene kit? Because she's going to need to carry this with her even when it's not her period. I still heavily encourage it because you never know when you're going to, one, have an accident, two, maybe need to help out another young lady, or one with an accident. You have to plan in case you have an accident. Number one should be tampons. 2 of every absorbency. So either 2 regular or 3 of every absorbency. 2 to 3 of regular, 2 to 3 of super, and it's super plus if she has that type of flow within her menstrual cycle, if that's how her hormones and everything, if that's how that operates, go along with that portion of things. Maxi pads, whether she prefers pads or tampons, you should always have both. I always feel like pads and tampons go together like peanut butter and jelly, because what one doesn't catch, the other one will. That's the nicest way I could put it without being graphic. Yeah. So same thing about the pads. Pads also come in regular, super, super plus, overnight. Definitely include overnight, about 3 of those. 3 of regular, 3 of super, 3 of super plus if they have it, but definitely include overnight. I normally get the Always Radiant one, but there's equally other similar, either generic or store brand pads, either in Walmart, Target, heck, I seen Amazon. Just make sure you get 2 to 3 of every absorbency, and just encourage that to at least put at least 2 or more of each thing of pads and tampons as well. Panty liners are a must. Carefree is a favorite brand. Always is okay, but Always is a bit thinner, and I don't feel like it absorbs as much as the Carefree ones. Carefree comes in scented. The Always panty liners, I don't feel come in scented. At least I have not seen those things. So I'm just letting you know for the record. Feminine wipes should go. That's a must in any feminine hygiene kit for travel. So it's gonna go in this cute makeup bag, and it's just gonna look like makeup is in there, but it's not. You want to also have feminine deodorant suppository. The OG that I am familiar with, the original gangster of them all brand, Norforms. They also have fragrance-free feminine deodorant suppositories. I do have a separate video specifically for how to use, how to insert, how to introduce, for lack of a better word, them into your body. That is something solely that I would encourage you to share with your daughter and have her to watch it alone. Okay? And then unless you're a single mother, then you can have that discussion and watch it together. In short, feminine hygiene deodorant suppositories. They are made up of material, either beeswax. They're made to melt at room temperature. So as soon as you introduce them into your lady parts, into your flower, okay. Soon as you put it in there, that your internal body temperature melts it out, and it starts to feel like you're having your period again. But instead, it freshens and cleans out. I only suggest using that before your period, and then directly after, not every day. I've not heard of any risk of using it every day. I just don't suggest it, me personally. I don't suggest it every day. I definitely don't. It's just for something as needed to freshen up, and then she'll be able to make that stretch a whole lot longer as opposed to using it every day. Because if she gets to the point where she's considering every day, then that might mean, you need to go see doc. And then go ahead and have that discussion with her doctor. What is there next? What is the next category? Oh, yeah. Going shopping for feminine hygiene products. Maybe I should stand for this one. So, for whether you're a single dad or a single mom, here are the tips I can give you for shopping for feminine hygiene. Number 1, make a list. If you're not sure where to start with the list, I would start with, and I'm still going to link you all to it at the end of this one, how to make a feminine hygiene kit, what to put in there. The exact same thing that should go in your teenage daughter's feminine hygiene kit, the pads of every absorbency, the tampons of every absorbency, the panty liners of every absorbency, the feminine wipes, whether they're fragrance free or full of scents, or you want to get one fragrance free and one scented, all the feminine wash, and then the feminine deodorant spray. I know there was something I forgot. Thank you, Lord. Feminine deodorant spray that comes in an aerosol can. That's something that you should be spraying in the bathroom solely by yourself. So that means hopefully you have more than one bathroom in the house now. I'm speaking to y'all single parents or parents in general, guardians in general. Let them have that bathroom by themselves. Hi, IDK. Appreciate you stopping by. I am sharing feminine hygiene tips for your teenage daughter if you're a parent or guardian, or if you're the teenage young lady. Thank you. Thank you. I am pretty sure that you are as well. Appreciate it. The same list that you use to make your feminine hygiene kit, including the feminine deodorant spray, the pads, the tampons, the feminine wipes, and the feminine wash, that should be your shopping list. When you go in the store, please let the clerks help you. Now, if they're not polite, don't, please, you still keep being polite to people. You know, just servicing the public in stores, it has taken on a different term and a different type of experience ever since 2020. So be nice, even if they're not nice, and see if you can find someone else if they're not nice to you. Strike up a conversation. Can you help me with this? I got a list for my teenage daughter, or if you're the young lady, you know, I'm trying to figure out what's the best thing for such and such. This is my first time doing this. And that's if you're not comfortable with YouTube. Now, you can watch YouTube. That's fine. I'm just giving you the game from my side of the coin. And then let them help you. Now, if you know you're good, you're familiar with the products, and you feel like you have it, you can start by buying one of everything and then see how long that lasts you. And that's going to depend on, one, heavily your flow, how heavy it is. If it is moderately light, stick with regular. I almost never suggest that, because you might have some months or some days within that same month at which your flow is completely heavy. You might be doing multiple things at once, you're not feeling well, and then bam, your cycle as well. Anything could happen. So you want to prepare for those type of things. Buy one of each of whatever you can squeeze into your budget, and then go ahead and buy those particular things. And do it that way. Then you have your makeup bag. You can go shopping for that. I'll go to the makeup aisle in Target, makeup aisle in Walmart. It's usually it's either in the makeup aisle in those stores or department stores, or you go in there, it's next to the purses. More than likely it's where the purses are. Thank you, IDK. I appreciate you. Welcome to the family. Now, as far as, and I have to bring this up because this has to do with feminine hygiene, and this also has to do with your menstrual cycle. Snacks. Now, I touched on it very briefly on the other video that I have up on my channel, and you could check I just put that up the other day. Let me be the first to say, hello. Is it hello? Thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Let me be the first to say, when it comes to snacks on your menstrual cycle and whatever you're craving, the common thing is chocolate. I'm not going to pretend like I don't like chocolate during my cycle. It's good. Is it good for you all the time? No. A couple alternatives. Natural gummy candy. %100% real fruit. I'm just naming some stuff you should look for on labels. Gummy candy is still, it should still satisfy that sweet craving it's just not as rich as chocolate. Because Lord knows, if you just run away with all them chocolates, you're gonna get yourself in trouble weight wise. That's all. That's all I'm saying. But I wanted to let you know, I like it too. It don't matter. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate. Chocolate is chocolate. Eat it in moderation. Get to know what your teenage daughter, or if you're the young lady watching, get to know what type of chocolate she likes. Reese's, Snickers, Payday, Three Musketeers. But you also want to encourage her to eat as many fruits, more fruits than chocolate and candy and junk. Also, stay off the caffeine. I'll tell you what I used to do when it got to a point where I had to begin to phase out the chocolate. Not only gummy candies, sparkling water. I would be careful with the carbonated sparkling water that's flavored, that's either cherry or any type of flavor. Those are usually where the bottle is the same color as the proposed fruit, but it's see-through and it's carbonated. I would opt for something that is non-carbonated, but it's still a fruit type of water. I would opt for something like that. Definitely will. Still helping with the sweet craving, but it's not caffeine. Ginger ale, you should only have that in case of tummy upsets, nausea, which often comes with, depending on the genetics of her mother, depending on, what her system responds to. You can keep ginger ale for tummy upsets, nausea, stuff like that. Settling the stomach, rather. But opt for more like sparkling water that's not carbonated. That is possible to find those. Might have to do a little bit more digging. Fruits, natural fruits, as opposed to chocolate. Don't get me wrong, chocolate is nice. Hi, cute _123 Thompson. Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you. But opt for more natural type of sweets. Gummy candies tend to be sweet as well and could satisfy that sweet craving, but they're not as sweet and rich as chocolate. That's all. Make a list of all her sweet cravings too, snack cravings too, and in fact do a half and half list and keep a notebook of all the feminine hygiene products on the left, and then all the menstrual craving snacks on the right hand side. Do that and keep that list handy. Make multiple copies and then, post that around the house only where you can see it, not out in the open. And then give her a list too. Encourage her to make a list. In fact, that could be a fun, great activity for you all to do, especially for the snacks portion. Now, for single dads, if you're uncomfortable with that portion, making a feminine hygiene list, if her mother is present, and this is not shade because people have different situations, then you want to make sure that you kind of have that conversation with her so her and your daughter can make that list together. Now, the snacks list, that should be less intimidating for you all gentlemen. Okay. Snacks. Yeah. And then do it that way. I'm trying to think of something else, but I do have a playlist full of things you may or may not know about and you may need to get educated on as far as hygiene, feminine hygiene. And I'm going to link it for you all at the top and bottom for your enjoyment. And if I can't link the playlist within this, because I said I was going to link another video about the feminine hygiene kit, it'll be on the community tab by the time this one goes up. I appreciate each and every one of you for liking, sharing, subscribing. And if you haven't, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tap the 3 dots at the top right hand side of your screen. Until next time, I have shared so far feminine hygiene tips for your teenage daughter, parent or guardian, or if you're the teenage young lady. that I wish I had growing up. Until next time, love you.